All right, I am here with a couple of industry superstars, Bobby Lehew from Robin Promotions, and the new ASI Entrepreneur of the Year, Mark Graham. Hey, thanks guys for joining me.
Thanks, Jeff. Real pleasure to be here.
And Mark, you didn't have to get so dressed up for us, but we do appreciate the effort.
Well, when you look at Bobby's, that's such a high standard here. I wallow in his shadow. So
Entrepreneur of the Year. It looks like I need to change my attire.
Yeah, you got to change the look.
I got to do something.
All right, so we asked our audience if there was one question that they would like to ask this esteemed panel of industry pros here, and that was, the question is, how is it that you make the time to actually market your business? So take it away.
Well, it's a great question, and I think the way that I'm going to answer this, maybe a variation on that question that I often get is, how do you find the time to implement social media to market your business? And this typically comes from very busy, stressed out, overworked salespeople that say, I literally have no time in my day to Facebook, to blog, to YouTube, to Twitter, to Tumblr, all that kind of stuff. How do you find the time? And a few years ago, we were really at a crossroads in our organization from a marketing perspective. And we looked at all the time that we were spending cold calling, going to trade shows, in short, the traditional marketing tactics that salespeople in this industry typically employ. And we looked at the ROI that we were getting from cold calling, going to trade shows, and we were starting to compare that to the ROI and the traction that we were getting by engaging with the community online, Facebook, Twitter, blogging, so on and so forth. And when we saw the scales start to tip in favor of the online, we figured, okay, well, let's see if we can cut X% of hours from the traditional stuff in favor of the more new media marketing approach. And that's the ultimate answer. We recognize that there are only 24 hours in a day. You can't work 27 hours a day. But if you can cut out the things that are not generating that ROI, and for us, cold calling was number one on that list. Not to say that we don't cold call anymore. It's just that we spend less time doing that and more time trying to warm up those calls, warm up those relationships, and build a viable pipeline that our salespeople can attack. And social media has been one of the ways that we've done that.
But our industry is so consumed by the tyranny of the urgent. And of course, 40% of our orders are rush orders. So it is a real problem. How to market your business and find the time for it. I do think that anymore we have to learn how to integrate this into the ebb and flow of our work world, because we have seasonalities to our business. You got, somebody's quarter may be insane, and I do think though the tools that we're used to using now, and the ones we're learning how to use, there is a time where you start adopting some of the tools you want to use for digital marketing, for example. After a while, it does get a little easier. You're talking about the ramp up is really difficult at first, but after a while, you can actually work these tools into your workday and your work week, so you can have a strict, steady marketing factor to your business, and you must. In fact, I think one of the things in our industry, I think people do what they want to do. I think they'll do what's important to them. I think the question sometimes isn't where do I find the time. Sometimes the question is, I don't think it's that important, and it's just imperative that we market our businesses. So once we understand the imperative, then it's a matter of adopting and adapting into the ebb and flow of our regular workday. Because those rush orders, they'll come crashing in, but you've just got to make time to market your business every day, even if it's just a few minutes a day.
Right, so what you two guys are saying in wrapping up is it sounds like, while people are afraid of social media and the time that it takes, really, once you're going, it's a more efficient use of the time. And this is kind of the mantra that we've been trying to preach, or the message is about change and doing things differently in our industry, because the same ways we've been reaching the marketplace for so many years are kind of not the fresh new ways. And so you can actually be more efficient by using these things if you're not so intimidated by them.
I think one other thing that Bobby's very insightful comments made me reflect on was that so many people, and certainly ourselves included at Right Sleeve in the early years, spent time focusing on sales, sales, sales. So to some extent that's order taking, that's cold calling, that's going out and really grabbing that sale the traditional way. But the thing is that as entrepreneurs and business owners in this space, there's a difference between salespeople and then entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are the ones that are creating value beyond just themselves and their organization. And marketing is one, whether it's social media marketing, whether it's traditional marketing, whatever the case may be, those are the things that generate value for your enterprise beyond just your client list. And that's something that we really realized about 6-7 years ago when the company was at a crossroads, when we wanted to move away from just selling, and we wanted to create a brand that made it easier for us to generate those sales and bring those sales in. So I think it's an important investment. It's sometimes a difficult investment to justify for the person that's looking for the immediate short-term payoff. For us, it's been a slow burn, and if we've been employing this approach for years and years and years, we're starting to see incredible liftoff right now. But it's taken quite a while for the market to wake up and to pay attention to it. But there's certainly more enterprise value in our organization now beyond just our client list. And that's important for an entrepreneur.
I like what Michael Hyde says. He says, embrace permanent beta, because what you first do, it's ugly. It's the prettiest ugly you got, and you got to run with it. But after a while, the next iteration is going to be better. The next iteration is going to be better. But if you embrace permanent beta, just get in there and start doing something. You'll find out 6 months. The good news about some of this, most of this, I would say, most of like the digital marketing efforts is fairly transient. I mean, you can put out something that's kind of ugly, but you can, guess what? You can still improve upon it and get an opportunity to impress that audience sometimes again.
Wow, words of wisdom. Thanks so much for those who submitted questions, and thank you guys for sharing. Make it a great day.